Hi, class. I'm Professor Nance, Patrick Nance. This is the first video for financial accounting. These videos, a lot of times, will have problems we work through and those kinds of things because the first part of this chapter especially is just kind of definitions and what accounting is all about. I don't really have that for this part. You know, in future videos, you'll see that there'll be a lot more kind of walkthroughs and that kind of thing. So for this one, we're just going to start from the beginning of the chapter and talk about accounting and business and just kind of some general terminology you need to know and just things you need to know about accounting. So, you know, businesses in and of itself are, you know, organizations that are made and created to turn a profit. And when we talk about profit, we're talking about making money, spending less money than they're bringing in. Is the simplest definition of profit. Earning more, bringing in more than what goes out, bringing in more money than what goes out. There are three different types of businesses. In this class, we're really only going to talk about two different kinds. The third one we will deal with more in managerial accounting, which is in the spring semester. So a service business is the first one, and that is the one we will start with. That's kind of the most simple one. Service businesses, the examples the book gives are things like Delta Airlines and Walt Disney Company. You could also go with, you know, law firms, CPA firms, doctors' offices, veterinarians, you know, anything where you're performing a service where the product that you're selling is intangible. It's your time and your skills that you're selling more than anything else. Like I said, that'll be the first business we do the accounting work for. Second type of business is a merchandising business. Merchandising business means that I buy something and I sell it. Okay, this would be places like Walmart, Target, Amazon, any of those things that they buy from someone else. They don't manufacture it, they don't make it, they buy it, and then they resell it for a profit. Manufacturing business, which like I said, won't talk about much in this class, but a manufacturing business is a company or organization that makes, creates their own product. So they actually manufacture it, they make it. Example they give in here is like Ford, you know, all car companies, Dell Incorporated, computer companies, anyone that actually manufactures. So what is accounting all about? What is it for? More than anything else, accounting is about gathering information and creating reports so that you can make decisions about how to run your business. So really all we're trying to do is gather information, okay, record information in a systematic way so that we can create reports. Now there's all kinds of different reports, but the main reports we're talking about here is financial statements. We'll talk more about that later in the chapter, what those are, but those are the type of reports that we make. Okay, two different types of accounting, major areas of accounting is managerial accounting and financial accounting. Managerial accounting is generally for internal users. Okay, so this is reports created within a business for that business to use to make decisions with. Usually not seen externally. Usually it's just reports that are used by managers within an organization. That's more, again, for managerial accounting, which is the second part of this book, more so than this. This class is financial accounting. Financial accounting is more concerned about external users. So we create a set of financial statements for anyone to read. External users include investors or even potential investors, banks, the IRS, the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission. All these are external users. Financial accounting is about creating a set of financial statements. General purpose financial statements is what they call it in the chapter, but it's really just about creating these reports so that users can gather information without actually being a part of the organization. So anybody, if you create financial statements the way they're intended to be created, anybody within that organization should be able to, within or outside the organization, should be able to read them and gather information from them. Okay. Next, it talks about ethics. We'll talk about it more in depth kind of as we go along. But all in all, the big thing I want you to get from this is that, you read negative stories about accounting all the time in the news, and there's a reason for that, because people like to read bad things and negative things more so than positive things. There's not much news in the accountant that does their job well. There's a lot more news and a lot more headlines when accountants don't do their job well. So it talks about different failures that have happened in recent history, 15, 20 years ago, and forward from there. Then it goes on to talk about Sarbanes-Oxley, which is a law that was passed effectively trying to create more rules and regulations so that it is more difficult for companies to perpetrate fraud, and also that the punishment is more severe than what it was before for fraud. Okay, different types of positions that accountants can, different types of jobs that accountants can have. Accounting is a lucrative career. It pays well. They're always in need of accountants. One of the easiest career paths to find a job in my opinion. I'm a little biased, but I can also say, whenever you read lists of, jobs that are hiring, jobs that are expanding, jobs that are continuing to grow, accounting is almost always on that list. The two different kind of major tracks when it comes to accounting is public accounting and private accounting. The only difference between the two is whether you're working in a client-based relationship or whether you're working within an organization. So a private accountant means that you're an accountant for a company. So if you work for Amazon and you're an accountant for Amazon, you're in private accounting. If you are working for Walmart, if you're working for Newman, if you're the accountant for Newman, you are a private accountant because you are within the organization. You're doing accounting for that organization that you work for. Public accounting, on the other hand, if you've heard of CPA firms or public accounting firms, they do audits and taxes and all kinds of different services for other companies. So it's a group of accountants, effectively, amongst other professionals that audits other firms, that audits businesses, that do taxes for businesses, that do that kind of thing. So that's public accounting. They're doing it on behalf of the public rather than for themselves. And you can look in the book about what the starting salaries are, and all pretty, good, well-paying jobs. A CPA is a certified public accountant. It's a certification that I hold in the state of Kansas. I saw a license and permit to practice as a CPA in the state of Kansas. Effectively, what it means is that it's a high level of certification that warrants usually higher pay, higher positions. It's kind of almost like an additional degree. It's not a degree though, it's a test that you take. So the CPA exam is something that you can take after you get to 150 hours of college credit with a bunch of specific hours, at least in the state of Kansas. And after you reach that, you can sit for the exam. The exam is 4 parts. I won't go through what the parts are. It's got about a 40% pass rate. About 40% of people that take it actually pass it. So it's a pretty difficult exam. But it's a certification that will guarantee you'll almost always be able to find a job. For example, I was laid off in the middle of the recession in 2008 when most people were having a lot of trouble finding positions. I had several job offers within a few months, several interviews and offers within a few months, even in the middle of a recession, namely because that's just how bad accountants are needed. And, especially CPAs are hard to find, so not as many as you might think. Okay, we'll stop there for now just for an introductory, and we'll move on with the chapter, talk about GAAP in the next video.